this right here, guys, is our understairs cupboard. And as you can see, it is just a complete mess. The current state of it, we have some coats hanging on the back of the door using this over the door storage there, which works quite well and keeps the coats tidy. But in here, we have just got a whole lot of mess going on. As you can see, we have some more coats in here, so some of these need to go upstairs really. We've got shoes everywhere, cool box, my wrapping paper, piles and piles of shoes and bags and things. We've got a mop in there, I've got my carpet cleaner in there, we've got a hoover. There's a couple of shelves there at the back which you cannot even see, and it is just a complete mess. And as you can imagine, trying to find shoes in this cupboard is a nightmare, and we end up emptying out the whole thing and then having to just shove it all back in, and it really is just a hot mess. So if we could make this cupboard, number one, look nicer, and number two, be more functional, because this is not a functional cupboard right now, then it's going to help out our lives. Also, I'm not sure if it's going to come up on camera, but there is marks all over the wall, like we've not done anything to this room since we moved in. So there's marks all across the wall. We've got like trunking and random bits that the people in here put before us. So I want to kind of get rid of all of that. Just taking the coats off the door so we can get a better view of inside of the cupboard. I didn't realise this door was so yellow on the inside. Plus it is so scuffed, marked. I don't even know what these little hooks are hanging out the door. I mean, we've used them, but they were put there before we moved in here. Eventually we will need to change out the door anyway, because we want this door to match some of the other doors in our house, but that will be a job for a later date. And then this is what we are left with. So the plan today is to empty this out. I need to hoover, because God knows what is on the floor down here. I need to take some of these bits off the wall. We need to fill any holes in, and then hopefully give it a paint and a freshen up. So let's get started.
So as I said, I started off the process by emptying out the cupboard, and when I tell you it was like Aladdin's cave, I kept finding more and more items all buried underneath each other, items that we may have been looking for or that we thought we'd lost, and it just kept going and going, and there was just so much stuff in this cupboard. So no wonder it was in need of a really deep clean and sort out. If you are a regular watcher of my channel, then you know that I love organising and I love sorting out areas in my home, but this is just an area that I had completely forgotten about, completely overlooked, and I just left it to get into this really big mess. Basically, it was like my own personal Monica cupboard, and it just really wasn't in line with the rest of our home. So I'm just emptying it out, and I've put in most of the stuff into the kitchen, which is why you can see me going off there to the right. Then this is the cupboard all empty, and this is what it looks like when it's not completely buried in a mountain of items. So there was dirt and dust all over the floor, which needs a good hoover up, which had come in from shoes and things that had been inside the cupboard. There are the shelves at the back there, which were completely buried in items once again, and it's actually a really nice sized cupboard to work with. As you can see a bit more of the marks on the walls. They were really marked and scuffed. Time to hoover it out, and honestly this was the most satisfying hoover ever. It felt so good. I don't need a better reason. You broke your heart and come use mine. My love will last and stay. Then I took down the shelves that were in here. Again, this was not something that we put into the cupboard ourselves, but was put in here by the people who lived in here previously, and we had just been using it up until this point, but we have decided to get a different kind of storage unit for this room, so we decided to take down the shelves. After the shelves are down, I wanted to prep for painting, so we decided to fill in all of the holes, any holes that the shelves left or any other holes that were in this room. We filled them all in, and then I got some sugar soap mixed in a bowl with water, and I'm just going to use a cloth to wipe down all the walls, get rid of all of the dust and dirt, ready for painting. In between painting the cupboard, I decided to build the storage unit, which we are going to be using inside the cupboard. So we decided to go for the IKEA Kallax unit just because it's cheap, cheerful, and the storage baskets can hold a lot of items, which is what we need. We just really need the storage, and we didn't want to spend that much money on this cupboard makeover. We just wanted to make it quite a budget makeover, so the Kallax unit is perfect for that. Building the unit now actually turned out to be a huge mistake though, because even though we'd measured it out and the unit fits perfectly inside the cupboard, the door wouldn't allow us to put the unit in the cupboard. So what you're seeing on video, I actually ended up having to unbuild and then rebuild again inside the cupboard, and it was such a small space and it ended up being quite tricky. But we managed to get there in the end, and then I got my paint clothes on and painted the cupboard, and again it was such a satisfying paint. Now the walls are done, it was time to add a few of the finishing touches. So I have these hooks, which I got a while ago actually from Matalan, and finally they are getting put up. So Ada was just doing that for me. And then also these mop and broom wall clips, which you can just attach to the wall and use to hang up your mop and your broom and just keep them off the floor and keep them nice and tidy.
So this cupboard is so difficult to film because of its space and size, but this is the finished result and I am so made up with it. We currently have the Kallax unit, which is storing all of our shoes, and I've tried to separate out different family members. So we've got Amora, Navy and Bodhi in one, Harlow and Harper in another, me and Aiden one, and then we also have Lex, so that it's easier for everyone to find their shoes. We just have this basket on the hooks over here, and I'm sure that these hooks are going to get filled up with multiple other bags and coats and things soon, but I'm just using it to store a few bits that we need. And then we have my hooks on the wall, which have the brush and the broom hanging on them. The only thing I will say is if you decide to go for these, we couldn't get the sticky back to work, so we ended up super gluing them. So if you want to remove them, it's going to be a bit of an issue, but we're not planning on removing them anytime soon, so bear that in mind if you do get those. Also the flooring, I forgot to mention the flooring. This is just an old rug, one of the jute rugs from IKEA, and I kind of just cut it to size. It means that I've just been able to change the flooring up because the old carpet wasn't very nice. I made it look nicer and I didn't have to change the whole flooring, which would have cost a lot more money. So I'm really pleased with that. There's a few more things that need to go into this cupboard, so it's not going to stay this pretty for long. So I will show you what it's like once all of our things are back in. But this was kind of the pretty version, and then a little bit of reality because the coats are back onto the back of the door. And then I put back into the cupboard a few things that we need in here. Our Hoover will also go in here as well, and then I'm sure the girls' school bags will be put onto these peg hooks over here. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you have enjoyed it, and I shall see you all in a video again soon. Bye guys.